Hey guys, and welcome back to another Business Thursday live stream. How you guys doing today? So today I just want to kind of go through and just give the crab tank and the crab room a little bit of maintenance that needs done. And since I have all, I figure why not do it on the live stream? So it's not going to be a lot of talking. It's just mainly going to be me walking in here and you kind of see doing type of thing. So I hope you guys kind of enjoy this not so usual video. Saturday's video will probably also not be usual because there's a lot to think about with my upgrade, and I'm just not sure if it'll work out with the camera I got. So this Saturday I'm going to be live streaming yet again at 4 p.m. this time. And it's going to be me taking apart an aquarium and basically practicing with putting the aquarium back together after I take apart. Because this 75-gallon, which you can see part of, and another 75-gallon that's in the backyard and 90-gallon that's in the backyard, I'm going to be basically trimming and making 3 30-long aquariums out of them. But in order to get something that, in order to really practice, I want to do that with like a 10-gallon, my 29s, getting them long, stuff like that. That way I just have a little bit of practice under my belt. So I'm going to be out there in the backyard in the heat for you guys on a live stream. And that's, again, going to be Saturday at 4 p.m. Pacific time. So that's going to be a whole lot of fun. The Arizona heat, and I'm going to be out in the middle of it. So I'm going to go ahead and start the maintenance that I need to do. This is the tank I keep the crabs in, the Popomatano crabs. Hope you guys can hear me. This is my first time doing this thing, so yeah. So this is my Popomatano crab aquarium, and I just keep them in some water, and I keep the crabs in these containers. The biggest one has climbed out, and I'm just letting them settle in the tank because, well, there's real point, in my opinion, to try to keep putting him in his enclosure when he just keeps climbing out. So I just kind of show you guys what I have to do in this tank. Every week, I change a lot of this water, and I'm not going to do it right now. I'm going to do something else right now. But every week I vacuum the entire bottom of this tank and vacuum out practically all of the water, and that kind of just allows me to change a lot of the water without needing to disturb the crabs too much. Now, what I found out is these actually have a tendency to develop ammonia inside of them. They're all holes, as you can see, that, again, I hope you guys are hearing me, but there are holes in the water that go in and out, but I don't think there's enough of them to really make an impact on making this the same as everything else. So basically, what I have to do is I have to dump those containers out and replace the water, not like pour water back in, but let the water from the aquarium go back to closures, because there has been several times where I've opened it and I've smelled ammonia, and so far they seem to be pretty and good, but it's still not the best to keep them in such conditions, and as such I will be doing this probably twice a day. I feed them twice a day typically. So before the morning feeding and before the evening feeding is when I'm going to be doing this, just to continue to maintain them in a proper way. And after I finish with this task, I am going to be working on those tanks, because those tanks are where the crabs are going to be in a few weeks. They're not going to be up on there. I'm actually going to move the 135 in the backyard and put the crab rack a little lower, but that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother time. Trust me, there's a whole lot to do, and well, prep, which is why this Saturday is going to be a live stream versus the typical Saturday special, and I have a lot to think about with the camera I got. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how I kind of dump them out, I guess, because that's what I do. So let me see if I can try to get a good I'm trying to see if I can get a good angle so I can show you guys. And yeah, it's randomly laying on the floor because I tried to siphon it this morning and I almost puked like 20 different times. That's why I don't siphon any more, people. It was that bad. And I'm wanting to gag just thinking about it. So I'm going to do one of them that has already eaten its food. This one smells. Okay, this one looks like it's eaten, and it does kind of have a smell to it. So basically, this is gonna make a mess. It is pouring, but basically, I just pour the entire thing into here while dripping everything everywhere in the crab room. And of course, the crab is somewhere in there. As long as he does not climb out, I should be all right. The first time I did this, it did one of them did actually completely jump in the bucket, and I was like, oh, on jug, and I was like, that's the nasty water crab. Of course, they can't understand me. They really probably don't even care, but I'm going to go grab the towel out of the bathroom that is in there because that's where I keep it to dry off. I have nowhere in here that I can really drape it over anything. So let me go ahead and go do that after I just replace the saran wrap. All right. Yeah, this is going to be a very messy endeavor because there's no way to plug holes. I could plug two of them, but actually, let's go ahead and try that. And I typically don't have the light on the tank like I do now. That was just so you guys could see them and kind of see what was going on. Typically, the light is down. I just have it sitting here to shine into the most growth bins. But that's typically all that is. It's not typically up here like it is here. But I'm going to go ahead and use this, and you guys can skip out. Well, you know what? I don't want to create boring, so I'm just going to do that off camera. I'm sure you guys don't really care to see, everything I do. Yeah. I'll just go ahead and work on it, see if, because why else? It's what I came here to do, right, guys? So this one has eaten a lot of its food as well. This time I'm going to try to plug up two of the holes. That'll be the most nuisance. And again, I just dump the water. Try to watch the crab to make sure it's not going anywhere. And I would typically do this before I feed them, but I have already fed them, and that's fine. But Typically, I want to do it before they eat, just because I want them to be able to eat something and not. I don't want to just dump the food out if they haven't eaten at all, or dump the food out if there's going to be eaten. But it does seem like this is hopefully going to really help them a lot more. Again, typically I just drain the water every week, and it got to the point that I'm like, you know what, I should probably go ahead and do this as well so that I can make sure there's no ammonia spike in any one of these. So fortunately for you guys, there's only 3 more to do, and it goes by really quick, honestly. It doesn't take that long. Once my fingers find the holes, plug them up, bring it out, and dump it in. And all 3 of these, it looks like all 5 of these make up basically less than a gallon of water. So it's not that big of a cost as far as like having to change 5, It's not like I'm having to change 5 gallons, it's literally less than a gallon of water. But it really does help to keep the crab better, because you don't want them in a bunch of ammonia. And quite frankly, I'm kind of surprised they're all still alive and, assumed healthy. They are a lot more active since I did this morning. So this is looking like it's helping. Now this crab, it's on its branch. This actually has not been too common with these. You can kind of see there, that's the crab. And yeah, this doesn't smell that bad. And my nose is really sensitive to ammonia, so I kind of know what it smells like and stuff, but this isn't actually that bad. But I still want to get in the habit of doing this every day so that the crabs can have a nice, fresh environment to live. And the reason I'm so surprised with this is I've read that freshwater crabs are like an cicada species, which is basically they're really sensitive to pollution. That has not been my experience with these crabs. So that's just something I'd like to point out from the get-go. That's not to say I'm going to keep them in conditions where they're polluted or anything, because I'm not. I'm just wondering what kind of pollution they're talking about, because I don't want to find out. And it's better to know and be able to do preventative maintenance rather than find out the hard way or anything as such. This is the last one, and I'll be getting on the 10 gallons. Oh. Crab's right there on the cusp of the. There we go. Now he's backed up. This one is the male. The third one I did was a female. They seem to be brother and sister. They have very similar coloration, but there's no way to tell. So, and the reason that is something I posted on Instagram recently. So if you want to go and check that out, the link to my Instagram is in the description. All my social media is my Instagram, Twitter, and yeah, those are the only 2. I don't have a Facebook page. Just don't have time. Not super interested in creating one, to be honest. That is all. And as I mentioned, it's less than a gallon. Wait, less than a gallon. This is a gallon jug. I'm going to go dump this out front real quick. I'll be back in like seconds maybe. All right, I'm just going to put the light back down and we can on the 10-gallon tanks. I believe they've been sitting, oh, I don't even remember. I believe they've been sitting for around about 3 or 4 weeks, so it's about a month that they've been sitting like that. I want to leave them sitting like that just so that they could have enough time for any shrimplets to really like kind of make themselves known, so I don't accidentally kill them. But those 10-gallon tanks are going to be for these crabs here, and once I get it all situated and stuff. And so I need to get those two shrimp tanks combined into one and start transitioning them to tap water. I can go into 75 back there. So I'm going to go ahead and do that on cam, on stream, on camera for you guys, live. So I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick. Shouldn't take too long, and a pro tip for you guys, always your hands between working with different tanks just so you don't introduce anything to another tank or anything. I'll be right back. I'm going to go wash my hands. All right, so all I want to do in these two tanks, I want to take both pieces of driftwood out. I'm going to put some of this substrate over in this tank. Actually, I'm going to put this substrate in probably something that is quickly clean. But I'm going to start with the driftwood since that's the easy bit. Instead of all the floating plants up in here, that's not so easy. And again, these pieces of driftwood will in fact go into the crab tanks. When these get converted to actual crab tanks and they become, and I get them set up for the crabs, they will be in those tanks. A nice piece of driftwood here. It's really branchy. I really like it. I'm going to just get that in there. And actually, I'm going to put it in the crab tank down here so that the big one can have something to kind of mess around with and climb on without having to be without being required to basically be just around the heater and whatnot, which he typically hides either around the heater or around the other enclosures, which he can't climb into, thankfully. Or else I would not be able to keep him in there. I have to figure out a different thing for him. This one as well is quite branchy. I like it. I like both these pieces a lot. This one is a little more difficult because it's a little bit bigger and well, the moss is sticking to it quite a bit. Because it's been in there so long, the moss has kind of grown onto it. And there's apparently a hair out there with a bunch of snails, which is lovely. Well, maybe that's just the substrate. I think that's the substrate out. Which brings me to question why the heck did I put that other piece of driftwood in the crab tank? I mean, I didn't have any of the substrate or anything on it, but given this is a saltwater environment, I probably should have thought about that and not put it in there. So I'm going to go ahead and take that piece of driftwood out of the crab tank. This should not be in there technically. Didn't we just talk about this? Washing hands before messing with another tank, etc. I mean, I'm not super concerned with this contaminating the crab tank because look, it literally has absolutely nothing on it. There's no little pieces of moss. It's clean. It was just in different water parameters. So that's why I didn't really think of it. But then you look at this one and it has little bits of algae. It still has a little bit of the substrate right there. That's fluvial shrimp stratum. And it just makes me kind of second guess myself a little bit, which is fine as long as it doesn't kill any animals. So now comes the fun part. I need to combine all the plants and I need to get this substrate out of here. Fortunately, with this plant, it will be coming straight up. And see, this is what's funny about it. About using, I can't tell if it's the lights or what. You can see this plant. Nice roots to get the root in. But you see these leaves. Look at them. They're really small. This tank here is my photosynthesis tank, and in comparison, you can plainly see the ones in this tank with the DIY substrate is a lot bigger than these leaves here. Now, I can't tell if it's a good thing, if that's a bad thing, if that's due to light, if that's due to substrate like nutrients and whatnot. But regardless, this does not get as robust or as big as that one. And a lot of people are like, oh, just buy the commercial substrates. And well, I don't agree with that. So to each their own, but that's just my 2 cents. I'm not going to be buying any of this stuff anymore unless I want to have crystal red shrimp or something similar along those lines. So now I've got to figure out how I want to get this out without disturbing absolutely everything in here. Because this is the tank I want all the shrimps to go in while I transition it to tap water over the course of several weeks. I think the best way to do it is probably just do it. Don't try to worry about, oh, well, what if you crush it or whatever, because to be honest, that's probably going to happen anyhow. Now, this one is relatively clean. And plus, I'm going to probably be rinsing this stuff anyhow if I put it in any use in the future. which I might or might not do. But in both these things, basically a bag's within it, so it's definitely going to be a little bit of a cumbersome endeavor if I try to do this all at once type of thing. If I try to put it all in here, because it was an entire bag of both these things, like an entire, like half a bag tank. It was an entire bag total. So it wasn't something that it was like really. It's not a whole lot. So, if you're watching this, by the way, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe if you want to stay updated with my crab room. Live stream suggests this is Crabby maintenance. I'm not dealing with crabs right now, but this is where the crabs are going to be going, and that's why I have to get this done. I've been super busy and kind of putting this off for fall too long, so I'm going to be here until the lights go out with you guys. Thank you for tuning in, by the way. The reason I was kind of second guessing myself before is because there was one viewer who had left. I was wondering if it's just not engaging or what, but I'm not going to worry about it, and I'm going to stick with my schedule of what I want to do on stream. So, if you rewatch the way, thank you so much, and you know, it is what it is, but point being, I'm still learning. That is, in fact, why I want to rename those day videos to Loaning Those Days, because, in fact, I am still learning, and this is just basically to document what I'm doing. It's a lot easier to stream it and record it, and it is to basically be like, oh, what did I do this day, and, you know, etc. Yeah, and that's getting awfully cloudy, and that's what kind of happens with this type of thing. I put, oh, snaps. That's what happens when your finger bumps the thing and you just, oh, yeah, whatever. You just fling it absolutely everywhere. Yeah, this stuff is quite a bit cloudy. I wonder if this is actually the best way to do it. But you're going to be wanting to try again if you're not successful. And yeah, there's a 7 nails in here. I don't think there's going to be any that really survive. And honestly, I might just do a water change anyhow in this tank because it is awfully bulky. So, yeah. Not a fan. Definitely not a fan of this. I might go ahead and put this as unlisted because I'm not a fan of how this looks, but we'll see about that after the live stream. Let this be a word of warning to everyone who wants to put this stuff in their tank. It does not come out very easily or very cleanly. I might just have to get as much as I can out, let it settle out until like a couple of days from now, then transfer the shrimps over to here and everything, and hope there's some that's still alive. And because I only saw one shrimp, that's why I'm kind of taking all these down because there's not that many shrimps in here to begin with. So, yeah. And of course, there's a little snail. Actually, a big snail. That's a pond snail. Very sizable pond snail. Quite cute, in my opinion. But it's a pretty. So, welcome to the one viewer who joined the live stream. Nice to have you here. And again, I'm just basically taking this tank down. I'm going to let it go for, see, there's the one shrimp, you can really see him. But I'm going to let this tank settle for probably overnight, just to kind of let all the crap settle out of it. This is fluval shrimp stratum that I'm taking out of the tank. Of course, I don't want to shock the shrimps by moving them to completely different water parameters. And it may sound kind of hypocritical because I don't acclimate my animals when I get them in. I just use the plop and drop method, but given this is basically, this stuff lowers pH to like 6.9 to 7, it makes a lot more sense to try to get them used to tap water and shock them. Because when I buy animals, I keep them in tap. Like I buy animals from places that have similar water parameters as I do. Otherwise, I would drip acclimate or something of the sort as far as adding a filter so it doesn't necessarily stress the animals out. But in reality, they really do need a lot longer to acclimate to different pHs. It can take an animal weeks, I thought, to really be able to regulate based off pH. So go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe if you're not a subscriber already. I specialize in crabs mainly. These wolf shrimp tanks that they're not producing as well as I would hope and as well as I would require. So getting taken down and combined all into like one tank. All 7 of these used to be different varieties. Now they're all except this one and the one over here are all in the 75-gallon, which will be kind of trimmed to be will be a 30-gallon long. I have 2 75 gallons and a 90-gallon. I'm going to trim the 75, one of the 75s, make it into a 30 long, and trim the other 75s, make it into my 4-foot by 4-foot tank. It's not exactly 4 foot, it's like 11 and 3/8 by 11 and 7/18 or something. ADPK fish aquariums. I have, this is neon yellows and this is orange securas. I have the full shrimp stratum substrate and they're not doing so well. So I'm trying to get them both into this tank and get them acclimated to tap water because this is basically 6.5 pH. So I don't want to completely shock them. So I do have green velvets, carbon rillies, black diamonds, snowball shrimp, the Neocaridina species, as well as the jade shrimp, another Neocaridina species. But because the only shrimp that I was really producing as well as I would hope would be the carbon rilly shrimp. I do have some of those in the 50 tall behind me as a selective breeding project, kind of bring the rilly pattern out in the lot bed of which I got them as mixed grade. So what I hope to do is kind of selectively breed them and get them to be actual like really high grade carbon rilly shrimp. And that's why they're in the 50 tall behind me. There was 70 in the 10-gallon tank when I took it down. And I'm carrying all of these now producing, but because I'm going to be using them for the crabs I have underneath where my laptop is sitting. Thank you. I think shrimps are really cool creatures. Personally, I really love them. I just wish I could figure out the secret to actually breeding them and not having like very limited success with breeding them. I've had limited success with the 5 types: the dream blue velvets, black diamonds, neon yellows, snowballs, ocean hares, and green jades. I've had 6 types, and one that I got at the same time as a coffin really, I had basically no success with. They went extinct. I think it's due to some assassin snails. Yeah. I think it's because of some assassin snails I had in the tank as well, and it's something that I wasn't really as skilled as I should have been with them, so that's a rip. But yeah, something I mentioned earlier in the live stream, and I'll repeat it for you, DPK Fish Aquariums. Some notice with my plant growth. And maybe, yeah. I'm kind of going to be going off a method that I saw on L.R. Brett's Aquatics channel. Shins in one of his videos putting rocks as like, kind of letting them colonize the rocks like ants do. He said they really like that. It really helps them feel a lot more secure, knowing that there's some place that's not going to be disturbed every now and again when you do water changes and back of the substrate. So that's what I'm going to try with shrimp colonies going forward. I will be basically how I'm going to be setting these up with for the crabs is 6 of them will be for the 6 crabs I have. One of them will be full filtration. And I'm going to set it where I have basically rocks in the back that are hiding like a waterfall type of thing. And I'm going to have rocks on the back and like kind of coming midway, maybe 2/3 or 3/4 of the way to the front with that way they can colonize all of that with the crabs in there as well. Yeah, I'm not subscribed to Flip Aquatics or Roma Aquatics, but I'll definitely check them out. Thank you for that tip. Oh, yeah. Do you know if they have any live streams? Do they do like live streams where I can just ask questions live? That is something I want to see about, because I honestly just don't know what I'm doing wrong, or if it's just something I just need to tweak a little, like what it is about these shrimps that I'm just not being successful with. Yeah, I saw his fish rooms and I'm like, that's what I want. Like he has like 3 fish rooms and like 500 tanks. It's like, wow. I definitely want to like kind of get to that point eventually. Unfortunately, this room isn't the biggest, but I'm trying to maximize space by getting rid of my larger tanks and keeping mainly smaller tanks to kind of maximize the space I have in here. But right now I'm keeping purple matano crabs, which again will be going in these tanks once I get them set up for that. But as well, I will hopefully be getting some of these shrimps again. I know Dream Blue Velvets apply for this. I don't remember offhand what the other types are. I don't remember what the other types are. The Fritos combo packs from Aquatic is what I'm going to be kind of seeing about doing, and thank you for letting me know about the live stream. I'll be checking into them and trying to see when they do that and everything. But I'm going to have basically, honestly, I completely forgot where I was going with that. But basically, oh yeah, 3 of those combo packs is what I'm going to be kind of getting from Aquatic Gods. That's where I got like most of my shrimp, except the carbon really and the the true original types I got from a burrito. But I'm going to be kind of getting those packs and putting them in with the crabs. And I'm going to have basically full filter sand in the bottom of it, those rocks like I was mentioning, a nice piece of driftwood in each one just to kind of... Oh. Does he use the all unit on all of his tanks though? I thought it was just a selection of the fish room. Ironically, I might be the one with the shrimps, honestly. That's something I need to invest in when I have a steady income. That is definitely something I want to invest in. But I know he has access to all water and an all unit. I just thought it was a different part of his fish room, to be honest. That is something I'm going to get a bigger facility, like if I move to a warehouse or something in the future. It is something I'm going to be plumbing up. I can kind of like I've seen his plumbing where he has the 2 different types, so you can just switch from RO to tap water. I'm going to do something similar to that when I get it, before I actually move in and whatnot. I'm going to kind of plan it out and see what I need, because that is something I would like to do, because if shrimps require all water, that is definitely something I need to invest in. So, because I am hoping to breed these guys, and this is like a business, so it's not something that I'm just doing it as a hobby. And that's why I'm tearing all these down, because they're just not producing as much as I need. So, okay. I'll definitely see if I can get in contact with him, and also Flip Aquatics and Roma Aquatics, and see about just kind of trying to do a conversation or something with them via email or something, so I can kind of learn a lot more about these shrimps, because they're really cool. But I've had mixed results with shrimps at this point. But I'll see about doing that. I get done here. Actually, I'll go to each of the channels and send them a message and try to find out when they live stream and stuff, so I can kind of ask about that. That is something I want to get better at. Eventually, I'm going to get like the Cardinal Sulawesi shrimp, which comes from the same waters as the panther crab and the Pocono crab, which I've kept the panther crab, and I'm keeping the Pocono crabs. Again, the hope is to breed them eventually. Not that I know much about crabbing, but I am trying to learn. The main thing like crab breeding, though, it's not like shrimp breeding. For the most part, you have to kind of male to the female at a certain point, and I'm not comfortable with just putting them in an aquarium together like I am with shrimps, because, well, crabs have claws and they can actually kill each other. So it's like, what am I to do? Keep the crabs separate on the flow-through system and try to figure that out as I go along, type of thing. So if you would like, I can actually show you some of my shrimps, my other shrimps. This is my 50 tall. I do have 2 otosynthus, and there's a shrimp right there. Not sure if I'm actually turning it though, because I'm on my laptop. So there's another shrimp on that leaf there. A lot of this stuff does need there's a few of those that need trimmed. And I'm not actually sure if we're going to be able to, oh yeah, there's a shrimp there. This is where I have like all of the different ones that weren't producing as much as I would like. I think that's one of the Dream Blue Velvets. And again, the reason I have them all in one tank is because I think they do a lot better in just one big tank, since I have basically 5 here, 3 there, 2 in a different tank, like they just weren't producing. And from what Elop Aquatics showed in one of his videos, apparently they can throw pink shrimps, and like it's not just something that'll degrade to the wild type shrimp. Apparently, yeah. I have one known female crab, so I do not want to mess up on crab breeding because, yeah, I hope that, like, you know, Ella Bretts is like a guru in shrimp. I want to be like the crab guru with like freshwater and brackish and saltwater crabs. Yeah, I'm going to be keeping them in separate tanks, but in a flow-through system, because with the crabs, I'm talking about the crabs right now, but the reason why is I don't know what kind of I don't know how they actually determine their sets. I don't know if it's something that it's the water parameters, you know, like temperature, like there's with lizards, they determine the sets based on the egg temperature as they're developing. With different fish, like it could be the temperature you raise them in. And crabs are like a big unknown, which is why I'm delving into it so like passionately, because I am passionate with crabs. Thank you. This one really, the 75. The 50 tall was like kind of my first time trying to actually aquascape, and it turned out fairly well, I think. And the 75 is just my, you know, put everything in there until I get the 330 longs built type of ordeal. It's there. But with the crabs, going back to that, I want to try this on low leak so there's more of a like interaction and not so much lag between everything. But I also don't want the buffers and everything as well with like, you know, for you guys, I don't want it to be like buffering every 5 seconds because of whatever issue or whatever. So I might try that out this Saturday when I start taking apart a 10-gallon that had the bottom cracked, it's spider webbed, and I'm going to be live streaming that Saturday at 4 p.m. Pacific time. So I'll go ahead and try the low latency just to see how it works. And I mean, DPK Fish Aquariums, if you're not already subscribed, I'd greatly appreciate it, just so that we can kind of see how it works. I mean, I am going to put it public, but at the same time, you've been watching this a long. Appreciate it. So, but for the crabs, I will be keeping them in the flow-through system because of the okay. I'll definitely check out Flip Panels, the Roma Aquatics, I think you said, and yeah, Flip Aquatics and Roma Aquatics. Some stuff with like Love Diesel before, but I don't know, it just doesn't like. Oh, well, that's good enough reason for me. Like, I've seen a few of his videos and I haven't really, like, they're not kind of my forte. If it's full research, I don't really mind. So it's definitely something that I want to get better in, because it, like crabs, what's kind of an unknown at this point, shrimps really are popular and they continue to explode in popularity. So it's something I hope be breeding and selling the shrimp while I'm trying to figure out the crabs and everything. But it is something I'm definitely interested in as far as shrimps and crabs, but I am specializing in crabs specifically because they're the most interesting to me. And I do think they're going to be one of the next things if I can figure all this out. I mean, it's not just me who's working on it, obviously. I'm just the only one who's really upfront publicizing what I'm doing. So, all right, sweet. Thank you so much. Yeah, so, dude, I greatly appreciate you subscribing and my channel on Facebook. Thank you so much. But it is something that I'm hoping to have this kind of squared away. Some of my friends are coming over to try to help me with setting up the crab room how I want to on the 15th of August. So just 10 days before my birthday. And I'm going to have these tanks trimmed and everything, have the two where it's kind of, they don't have to be in position, but kind of like where they're already ready to go. But I'm definitely going to be trying to fix that spiderweb pattern on the bottom. I'm going to have to get some. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll definitely check out Roma Aquatics as well. Yeah. Actually, just so that I don't forget, I'm going to look them up real quick while I'm on stream, just so because I sometimes have the memory of a goldfish. I know the whole 3-second goldfish memory is kind of like, it's not accurate, but at the same time, I'm liable to get distracted and just, yeah. So Roma Aquatics, Aquatics, there we go. Open new tab. And it was Flip Aquatics, yes. All right. So now I pulled those up. All right. Yeah. Yeah. And like, to me, shrimps are really cool because they swim around and stuff. But crabs, like, there has not been a dull moment for me keeping these crabs. Like, as I mentioned, I pulled Popomatano crab, which is Centripsa matinaceus. You know, I know the panther crab, Priatafusa pantherina, but I'm still trying to learn the Popomatano crab. It's Centripsa matinensis, I believe. But it's just, it's one of those things that there's not a whole lot of info, and I'm basically trying to figure everything I can from how you should house them, how you can house them, if the land section is needed, if it's optional, if it's like what they're eating in the hobby, because a lot of the crabs that you buy now are actually wild caught, I believe. So it's not something that there's actually any sort of, that was my 75-gallon light going off. So it's almost time to end the stream, but we can stay for a few more minutes because Shrimp Rack literally shuts off at like 8:15. So I don't know why everything's set to go off at 8, but this one goes off, the 50 claw goes off, then the Shrimp Rack goes off. So I have no clue what's going on with that. But yeah, with the crabs, it's like, it's just something that is like, oh yeah. I'm a huge fan of moss. I have, like, let me show you real quick. I have assorted mosses in the 2 shrimp tanks that I am keeping. This one right here. I used to have them all organized and stuff, but like, there was a time I was in college and, you know, super stressed, not really. Dude, I'm looking forward to it. I'm basically a lifetime student. I've been in the hobby for like 5+ years. I'm an avid aquarist, an avid aquarium enthusiast, and basically a lifelong student of this hobby. Something my grandpa actually got me kind of into. When he passed, I got like this 135 below is something that I inherited from my. When he passed, my 275 gallons are the same. I inherited them, and it's something that is just, it's been really like, ever since seeing his angelfish and other fish in his tanks, it's just, it was just that one seed that was like, psh, and I was like a wild bush type of thing that I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to go with it and everything. But crabs are really my passion, and I mean, shrimps are up there. I mean, it's basically the 3 rankings is crab, shrimp, fish, but they are all in my top 3. I keep snails on my tanks just as a cleanup crew. I'm looking at the scuds, like black ones and stuff like that, trying to culture them and trying to have them as cleanup crew as well. And I mean, definitely I'm more of a live food, but I'm gonna try to culture those at some point. I just have not figured out how or when yet. I'm still kind of looking into like Daphnia cultures. I've tried. It's apparently not as easy in my experience as people on YouTube make it out to be. But you know, I'm gonna fail a few times, but just got to pick myself back up and dust off my pants and try again, type of thing. Oh, yeah. What? Oh, yeah. But it is something that it's just really. I'm really passionate about crabs and shrimps, and I'm really gonna look at their channels and definitely just try to figure out what I'm doing wrong, because I'm obviously doing something wrong. I cannot, if I'm only having 1 out of 8 of my shrimp tanks be like what I would say successful. Oh. Okay, so with ghost shrimp, I thought there's two different types. There's the brackish water, and then there's the truly fresh water with ghost shrimp. I thought the brackish water, as they released the larval stage, and the fresh water, they actually have direct development, like the neocaridina and caridina species. Do you know how to identify them at all, or is it just something that you just keep them in your, like, I mean, not for anything, but I'm going to assume they're the truly freshwater types because I don't know of very many people who actually can take the time with raising the larvae and stuff. Like, I've looked into some stuff with like bait tick crabs and stuff. Oh, okay, you've collected yours in Florida. Sweet. Is that just the fish or the shrimps as well? Because, dude, that's awesome. I've actually looked into getting my PhD in Florida. I'm kind of steering away from that because it's so far from home, but I'm definitely okay. True freshwater, yeah. Unfortunately, buy them from the store, you just don't know what you're getting. Like, a lot of people are like, "Oh, they're ghost shrimp," and yeah, but there's two types that people don't realize. And like, I've tried to get them to my local fish store and try to breed them. They were even buried, and I could not get them to breed. So it's definitely something that it's a challenge with the pockets of misinformation. Okay. Do you keep any Florida flagfish? I'm a part of PR Aquatics forums, and a lot of my friends on there actually are from Florida, and they always mention the Florida flagfish being something that eats a lot of algae, and sounds like a really cool fish. I know what part of Florida they're native to and what part you're in, but do you have any Florida flagfish that you've collected or anything? But as far as the crabs go, yeah, I'm going to be setting up a few paludariums. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm still beginning with breeding fish. I've tried to spawn some tiger barb, and it's just something that it's like, yeah. They're not seasonal though, I don't think. Are they? Are they seasonal? But as far as like breeding fish, as I was starting to say, I've been trying to breed tiger barbs, and they just have not spawned so far. So I think I'm gonna go for like something like maybe Danios or something that's a little bit easier. And I've just had mixed results with like the plants not being tall enough, not being bushy enough. Like, I don't know what I'm doing with breeding fish. I'm trying to one, but obviously with everything kind of in renovation, it's like, okay. All right, yeah. I am looking into keeping killifish as just like a hobby, though I might get into it on the business side of things as well, depending on how cool it is. Oop. There goes my 50 tall. Now all we have is the shrimp tanks. But yeah, it's really 8 p.m., so I'd probably like to get in a second, still hang out and chat. But yeah, something that I've always loved killifish, honestly. It's just, I'm not willing to really delve into them because there are a lot of annual species, and if I don't breed them, I'm just gonna feel bad. So, okay, yeah. A lot of people they always say like use peat moss stuff, and I'm like, like, yeah, I'm a little hesitant to go really into trying to breed annual killifish because if they would have done and they don't breed for me, I'm gonna feel bad, honestly. Like, it's just who I am. Like, I don't like when fish die, and I don't like, especially when it's like something, it's an annual fish, and if I can't get it to continue its lineage, I mean, I tend to just, yeah, I tend to get all sorts of just trying to move stuff around, so I kind of figure stuff out and everything. Like, it's rough. I do have Asperger's syndrome, which is high functioning autism, so it's something that it's a daily struggle. with me, but this is something I'm super passionate about, and it doesn't really matter that I have autism. It's just something that, just so you guys can know, like, kind of why I, go through some of this stuff when normal people would be like, oh, it's just a fish. It's like, yeah, but, it's my fish, and I feel responsible with trying to breed it if it's, killifish, so. What? I know. Oh, okay. pH neutral to semi-hard. Keep taking 80 degrees, and then you do 40% water change to cooler water. Okay. Yeah, that doesn't sound very difficult. So it's just, yeah. I mean, I've done like not exactly the same. Like how I was breeding the types is I had 2 tanks, 29s. I would condition them in with the thing where they can see each other or anything, and I caught a male and a female, put them in a gallon with like a kind of egg crate thing so the eggs could fall through, but the parents couldn't follow them, and didn't have success with that, honestly. Yeah. I've read a lot about replicating the rainy season. I've wanted to breed the Denison's bob, Sahyadria denisoni. See, like all of these fish I'm really interested in. I do know the scientific names, but somehow I just bought these crabs and didn't really learn the scientific name until I had bought them. So, but I have read a lot about like doing massive water changes. So like, not even like massive water changes, but like letting the water evaporate until it's like way down here. And then like, yeah. But then like, like filling it up with like really cool water and that replicates and the rivers rushing down and everything. I have kept paradise fish when I was, I want to say 13 or 14. I'm 22 now, so it's been about a decade almost, I would say. Oh, yeah. The thing with angels, my mentor in breeding fish is actually, he's big into breeding angels, and he always says, like, you have to have, like, so many tanks because you can get them, like, going, and they have pretty big spawns, so you have to have, like, a 10-gallon to move the eggs into, whatnot, and then you have to have, like, 50, 20 longs just to maintain like, few batches, I guess. Like, obviously, I'm a little bit exaggerating, but it's like, raising angels is insane. He does it as a business. It's like, yeah, it's beyond me at this point. But yeah, it's actually about time I end this, unfortunately. It's 8:04. I guess if you want to hang around and chat for 5 more minutes, we can. But something I really want to do is, I don't know if you've seen this. I'm sure you probably have. But that is what I'm working on with the vampire crabs. The vamps are going to be the next type of crab I have. That's where this is going to be moved, basically this rack. These 20 long up here. And I'm going to be taking all of this down and putting the polydariums right here. I'm making a triple hybrid 20G Hetz polydarium build. And reason it's triple hybrid is because I'm not going to use glass. Oh yeah, UV sterilizer lights to help eggs, not fungus. That's actually a pretty good idea, honestly, and it really helps with the methylene blue because you have to always buy more methylene blue. But if you have a UV sterilizer, well, it kind of is you just have to replace the bulb, and it's probably not as often as you have methylene blue. So, but with the polydariums, I've already created a couple of videos. You can check them out. They're the last 2 special videos. I took a 20-gallon hexagon tank apart, separated all the panes, and I'm going to be having the 2 panes of glass hinged and have 4 sides and the bottom and top be a material which I have not disclosed on YouTube yet, but it's something that I'm working towards. I have ordered the Versatool and the protractor to make my life a whole lot easier with cutting the styrofoam. making sure I have the 30 degrees actually accurate. But it's something that I have to wait until the versatile comes in because I'm from Amazon. So fortunately, that's kind of the life I'm trying to figure out. So like, I wish it could come in like yesterday. I could just get this done because I'm super excited about the polydariums. It's something I'm going to be getting: blue vampire crabs, red devil vampire crabs, and bicolor vampire crabs. And there's still like a lot more. There's like disco. Oh, yeah, very true. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Definitely with like what I'm hoping to do with the crabs, basically figuring it all out because like fish, there's people like you have like Crebensis and Paradise Fish, and there's people like me who are like trying to basically you're taking a section no one's even really ventured into, and you're basically treading a path and trying to figure out everything there is to know about that section. And it's like there's not a whole lot of info on crabs, so that's something that I'm having to kind of like put a foothold in, and like it definitely takes focus and passion for sure. Because if I wasn't super passionate about this, I probably wouldn't be doing it. It's just so much work, but I think it's really fun. Like I've never had a dull moment for these crabs. When they climb out, it's like, but it's like it's not like annoying. It's just like, okay, there they go again, being themselves. It's like it's yeah. I had a crab boom scare when I first found my big Pokematano crab out of its enclosure, and I was like, looked in the other one, and I just see what looks like a dead crab, and it was actually its smalls. And I was like, oh crap. I literally thought the big one climbed out and into another, and I'm like, oh no. But now he just lives in the 40 grader on his own, so yeah, that's definitely what I'm doing. Is I'm trying to take stringent notes. I'm not succeeding on that front as much as I would like, but I am like trying to pick rent and everything as well. So it's just a big busy mess right now. But it is something that I will be like definitely making videos on everything. And when I have a successful breed, I'll try to catch the breeding on camera so I can kind of instruct people. Like I'm definitely gonna like basically try to just help because honestly, there's so little information and so much misinformation with crabs. Like the gold crabs that people buy that are fiddler crabs. Excuse me, they require a land section and they are brackish water and they don't breed well in captivity because, well, they release lava and they also dig burrows, which I've read they can go like 2 to 4 meters into the sand, which is like mind-boggling to me because it's like you think of like a tank, it's like a meter's like 3 feet, so like this 6 foot, 135 gallon tank I have, that's basically how long the burrows are. And I'm like, okay. Like that's basically impossible to replicate in a flow system. But oh yeah. Okay, yeah, I definitely have a TDS meter. It's actually right here. It's a very, very basic TDS meter, but I do have a TDS meter. I do try to test my water on a somewhat consistent basis. I am assuming, but it is something that I test TDS, I test pH and nitrates and nitrites and ammonia just to make sure nothing. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's something that I am looking forward to figuring out with the crabs when they breed. Is I'm basically going to set some aside and be like, well, how do different water parameters affect the growth and the health of crabs? And like, because you can have like a super fat crab and like select water parameters, but maybe it doesn't grow as healthy as it should. So it's like, how do I test that? How do I figure out like all of this other stuff that I want to figure out and that I hopefully will figure out in due time? I mean, they have to breed first, but I think a few of them are actually pretty close, maybe 2-3 molts, which unfortunately at this age could be 6 to 8 months growing before they molt. again. They molted about a month ago, I think. 2 to 3 weeks. Yeah, my memory is not the best. Oh, yeah. I actually didn't know about the water treatment companies, but yeah, copper is a killer for any sort of invertebrate. I've read that snails are not as affected by it for like whatever reason. They're like more basic / primitive than crabs or shrimps, but apparently with simplicity, durability, I guess. Like, don't ask me how that works. I mean, I majored in conservation ecology, and I still don't understand. Like, it makes sense, I guess, but in a counterintuitive manner, for sure. But I do have a copper test, and I do test for copper. With all of these shrimps, though, I've kept the label on them, as you can kind of see right here. If I can, there we go. Yeah, you can see there's the label there. And I kept the label on them just as a reminder that I bought these as new, and I have not traded copper in any of these. That's why I've kept the shrimps in here, because I know they have them for copper, so I kind of eliminated that from like my suspicions list, I guess. But if my water treatment company is using copper, I actually that never crossed my mind with like actually. I mean, I knew about copper pipes, but I didn't realize water treatment companies actually sometimes use copper. Yeah, that's not good. Not good. I'm actually gonna end. Oh, okay, yeah. I'll definitely look into that as well. Probably not tonight, but probably like tomorrow or something. Just because I'm already in the process of tearing this all down. But honestly, if there was any sort of copper, shrimps for like, especially if they're called really shrimp, I've kind of done the same thing with all of these, I guess, and it's just, yeah. But yeah, thank you for tuning in, DPK Fish Aquariums. But just let me get this. Yeah, one last thought. I have kind of been, doing stuff with all these tanks, and I think if copper was in the water treatment, even though I will look that up, but if it was, I would think it'd affect the carbon really shrimps as well. But like, I honestly don't know. But thank you for tuning in, DPK Fish Aquariums. I'm going to get off because I suspect these lights would be turning off in like 1 minute. So I don't want to be caught in the dark. So this is still kind of messy since I'm in the throes of, trying to renovate everything and getting everything set up as a room versus a fish room. But thank you so much, and I do appreciate it. Thank you again for subscribing and sharing my video. And I do hope you guys have a great week. All right, see you next time.